Good evening, Broncos country. Welcome to another installment of the Orange and Blue View. Before we get into tonight's lively conversation, I want to make sure we have all of our platforms included for tonight. And looks like we are good. Welcome in, everyone. Um, I am your host, Ron White. You have here on that side of me, not Dylan Von Arks, but you have the man Lance Sanderson
Wait,
joining me this
wait, where
evening.
where am I? What is this place? I'm not sure exactly what we've got going on here. What's up, guys? How we doing?
Yeah, he's back for another appearance, guys. He's been coming and helping us out. How are you doing? And thank you again, Lance, for joining me. It's always fun to have you on, man. How are you
Yeah,
doing today on this Saturday?
doing good, man. Had to work today, so unfortunately didn't get a chance to watch any college football yet. Got a Halloween party this evening. Going to take the kids out, go have some fun, eat some good food, and enjoy some company. But ready for Broncos football tomorrow. This team's really fun to watch right now, especially on the defensive side of the football.
Mhm.
Can't wait to talk some Broncos with you, man. How you doing?
Yes, I'm doing well. Nice weather here in Georgia. So hopefully that continues. I kind of wanted to just cool down, let it stay cool. Atlanta's just kind of been up and down with the weather, but if it could kind of stay in the 50s and 60s, that'll be good. That's kind of more of my ideal weather. So,
Yeah,
but other than that, doing well, doing well, doing well.
it's cooling down here in Wyoming, man. Hunting season is upon us, so haven't got anything knocked down yet. But we've been out multiple different times. It was 30 degrees this morning. My windshield was frosted over. The leaves are changing colors. It's full fall in central Wyoming where I'm at. But yeah, the weather is going to get pretty crappy next week from the sound of it. I guess we're supposed to get like 6 inches of snow next week. So
Oh, the snow
not
starting.
look not looking forward to that at all.
Yeah, not too fun, not too fun. All right, let's say hello. Let's see who we have in the chat here. We got Dave, Papa Bear, David McElrath coming in. Thank you, David, for joining us. You know we appreciate you, my guy. He says, "Good evening, Broncos country. Hashtag 10-7 or more or better. Hashtag Let's go Bo." Yes, David. I'm gonna. I know I sound like a broken record, but I love the optimism, my guy. And the way this team is playing, that 10-7 can definitely be
Mm-hmm.
realistic. Now, after this game, tomorrow, it gets into a little bit of a tougher schedule there for Denver as they have to go on the road to Baltimore and then on the road to Kansas City. But if they can get one of those wins, after this Panthers win, one of those wins possibly, hell, even maybe two, then they can definitely start making some noise as the season progresses and definitely be right there in the playoff push. But yeah, I think 10-7 is it's definitely kind of realistic if they execute kind of like how they're doing right now. They continue to execute.
That's the big thing. And here's the thing, guys. I talked about this multiple different times on Dove Valley Deep Divers a couple of years ago. And as this Broncos team has undergone a major transition, obviously with Sean Payton coming in, I talked about it a little bit with Vic Fangio, talked about it with Nathaniel Hackett as well. I mean, there's a pendulum to success in the NFL, and it's always swinging back and forth. And it seems like the Broncos are always stuck on the one side of the pendulum where you're losing big. You're losing big
Mhm.
games. You're losing big. You're not losing small games. You're not winning small games. And then you're going to get back to the winning big games like the Kansas City Chiefs, like the Baltimore Ravens, and stuff like that. The Broncos right now are starting to swing that pendulum towards the middle side of things where they're winning the games that they should be winning them, and they're doing them in dominant fashion. And they're starting to win the small games that you don't necessarily expect them to win, but when they do win them, they are again doing it in a dominant fashion. And quite honestly, a big part of that is because of what this defense is doing on just to help carry this team. Obviously, Bo Nix hasn't played great, and I'm not going to sing the praises of him tonight, like I probably won't for a while until he proves me wrong. But they're doing just enough offensively to accentuate how good this defense is to put them in winnable football games. And 10 wins is definitely possible. You got to start this week, though. You have to start this week against the Carolina Panthers and keep this momentum going into the brutal stretch that you got. Because, like you said, you've got you'll get at the Chiefs, you'll get at Baltimore, you'll get the Atlanta Falcons in here as well here
Mhm.
soon. You've got the Bengals coming up. Like
Mhm.
there's
It gets
some
tough.
rough sledding coming for this Broncos team here soon.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned just now how they're winning and the fashion that they're winning, and what Sean Payton has done to just shift this culture. I mean, just
Mhm.
think about it, Lance. It's think about it, like even 2 or 3 years ago, some of the games that they won already this year, they wouldn't even come close to winning.
Yeah.
So now again, it does help that the Broncos do have a top defense, as you alluded to. On offense, it's just still a bit of an unknown. I want it would be nice to have some sort of identity, and you would think the identity with a rookie quarterback would be to consistently run the football. Now, they've
Mhm.
been doing a better job of that over the past several games. And if, this offensive line with run blocking and Javonte Williams can continue that, if they could be more consistent, I think they can kind of lean heavily on that as Bo Nix still tries to figure it out. Now, obviously, with Bo Nix, I'm with you. He's had some flashes, he's had some highs, he's had, lows. And that's to be expected. But, if they can have some sort of identity on offense, I think that's kind of all we're asking. Some sort of identity on offense with this defense. I think that can set up the Broncos for success as the season continues and potentially into the playoffs.
Well, and I think the big thing here is you're starting to see a little bit more creativity from Sean Payton in the running game, understanding a little bit of
Yeah,
the fact that you can use Bo Nix in the running game, the zone read, the
the
read option,
design runs.
quarterback runs,
Yep.
designed quarterback
Hmm.
runs. Like you're seeing more than just the duo inside zone stuff where they're running two guards or a guard center guard tackle combination, blowing some holes up open in the middle and making Javonte Williams really use his eyes and read the play the right way. I want to see more pulling game, more pulling guards, pulling tackles, getting tight ends moving across the formation, and kind of really showing things for Javonte to help improve his vision. But
Vision.
I got to give kudos to Javonte big time here on how he's seeing the game a lot faster,
Yes.
and the burst is back. He looks like he's fully healthy coming off that torn ACL a couple of seasons ago. So there's a lot of optimism with me in this offense, and so long as they can continue to like utilize that creativity in the running game, you can start to accentuate Bo Nix into that because he
Yes.
looks a lot more comfortable working out of play action, out of that zone read, the RPO looks and stuff like that. If you can get that moving forward, this is a good game for the Broncos to really build on that success and get Bo Nix even more comfortable moving forward.
Yes, I agree. It's I think that turning point was that Jets game when I think that second half is when
Yeah.
they
Oh yeah.
really started to turn it on, and you saw Javante be a little bit of old Javante, and
Yeah.
it's good that he's seen the field now. He has that vision. The I feel as though some of the lanes have always been there. It's just him kind of seeing that other cut open up so he can go.
Yeah.
But it's so encouraging to see. Um, and also, what might be encouraging for you guys here is Prize Picks. So, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everyone. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Please check it out.
Yeah, guys, Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy. So your guys' lineups will stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. So if your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, Prize Picks keeps your lineup active and live. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. It puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when your picks hit, you can get your money in as quick as 15 minutes. So, guys, sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play a $5 bet. You don't even need to win that $5 bet to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed with a $5 bet.
So please download the app today and use the code Mile High to get that $50 off instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today and use the code Mile High to get that $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All right, let's see
Thank you,
who
Pride Speaks. We
else we
appreciate your
have.
support tonight.
We really do. We really do. Got Phil McLaughlin coming in. Thank you,
What's up,
Phil,
Phil?
from Facebook. We appreciate seeing you, my guy, as always. He says, "Good evening, Ron, and hello, Lance. Looking forward to see Bonito and Allen get a couple sacks each. Hashtag Buckham. Hashtag MHH for life. Hashtag Broncos for life." Yeah. I'm actually just ready to see this whole defensive line here, Lance. Just have a day. I know the names there. Obviously, Allen. Zach Allen has been a monster so far this season. He has been absolutely tremendous within the middle, and Benito has also shown why he was drafted there as well. So I'm interested to see that too, Phil. Again, I'm just ready for the whole entire defensive line to just eat, because, and we'll get into some of the matchups and kind of how we see the Panthers, but this Panthers offensive line, it's just the whole team. It's not
Yeah.
good. So there are going to be plenty of opportunities, for a few sacks from multiple guys to come on tomorrow.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all works out. I'm not sure exactly what their lineup looks like on the offensive line, but Ike Makwanu on one side, Taylor Moton on the other. They're
Mm-hmm.
allowing the 10th best pressure percentage from offensive line this season, 29.8% on their pressure rate right now. So it might be a little bit interesting to see if this Broncos defense can really get after the quarterback. And obviously the big news that came out of Carolina the other day was Andy Dalton getting into the car accident, has a sprained thumb. He's not going to start. He may not even play. And it just depends on what happens with Bryce Young, who is making another start this season. And honestly, I think that this defense is going to cause a lot of problems for him because of
Mm-hmm.
what they do with the simulated pressures and trying to identify the blitz package. How does Vance Joseph want to get creative in terms of bringing the extra rushers that he does from the second level, whether it's linebackers or safeties, cornerbacks off the edge? Like, Vance Joseph does a really good job of disguising what he wants to do, and then not only disguising the front, but disguising the back end as well. Like they're mixing in a lot of zone coverage underneath.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing some man coverage on the outside, zone coverage on the backside. Like, it's really hard to get a good read on this defense. And with Bryce Young, whenever you watch him, it just looks like this game is moving way too fast for him right now, despite his processing ability coming out of Alabama. So I think the Broncos are going to have some success defensively here because they can really confuse this kid up front and just make him hold on to the football, be unsure of where he's supposed to deliver to. And their top two wide receivers are out right now. I mean, Adam Thielen's out, Deontay Johnson is out. Like you're looking at Xavier Legette and a bunch of nobodies essentially. So Denver's in a great situation here. I know that we called this podcast, "Are the Broncos in danger of overlooking the Panthers?" Sure. I mean, I could see a place where that could be, because this team right now is one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Their offense is struggling. They're injured to high heaven. And Denver is coming off of some really good wins, a great win in New Orleans. I think arrogantly overlooking the Panthers, as Desert Creature comes in here, says, arrogantly overlooking? No, this is the NFL, and anything can happen on any given Sunday.
Yeah. And as we talked about, Lance, it's no. Well, let me back up to the question that actually is in the title of the chat. Are the Broncos in danger of overlooking the Panthers? They could be. And what I'm going to say, please check out myhuddle.com. Nick Kendall has a great article about this, so please go ahead and check that out. But there's one area, despite all the issues there with the Carolina Panthers, there's that one area that the Panthers can somewhat hang their hat on, and it's the running game. They've been very good. Chuba Hubbard has been very good in the running game.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, let me pull up the stats here. So the Panthers have the 14th ranked EPA rush team in the NFL and the 9th ranking rushing success rate offense in the NFL. Right now, I think Hubbard has about a little over 500 rushing yards so far this year. So they have some success in that area, and that's, again, with Denver's defense. They're ranked number 10th overall in rush defense. So Denver's still good in the run, but they just need to make sure that they shore that up especially when it comes to stopping Chuba Hubbard and this rushing attack tomorrow. But that's one way that the Panthers can possibly exploit them. That might be kind of one way that Denver could be overlooking in that regard. But yeah, you mentioned it, Lance. I mean, the receiving core, they're all banged up. A bunch of rookies. I think who's it? Jalen Coker. You mentioned Leggett. Um, Jatavion Sanders at tight end.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to play
Um,
too, from the sound of it.
yeah, and so it's again these bunch of rookies, new people there at the receiving position. This should be again a good easy win here for Denver.
It really should be. And I mean, go to milehighhuddle.com, check out the Mile High Huddle roundtable that came out yesterday. I'm fairly certain everybody predicted a fairly easy win for the Broncos coming up on Sunday. But again, no, this is the NFL. These are professional athletes coming into your building right now. And yes, they're a pretty rough team and they're lacking a lot of talent. They've got injury concerns and starting a backup quarterback. Well, I guess not really a backup quarterback. The former first overall pick shouldn't really be a backup, but he's at their backup right now because they don't trust. Like, it's a very interesting situation for what the Broncos have going right now. But again, like you said, the running game, Chuba Hubbard, he's really hard to identify behind the line of scrimmage. He's shifty. He breaks a lot of tackles despite his smaller size because he's so quick to erase angles with that first step explosiveness. Like there's a way here that Carolina can figure out a way to grind this game down if they can get some success running the football. But to me, I think that quite honestly, you're going up against Zach Allen, who's playing one of the best interior defensive linemen that we've seen in the NFL this season. And then the back end, Cody Barton, after Alex Singleton went down, like that dude has stepped up his game to an immense level. And Justin Sternad, man, holy hell, can we talk about this kid for a minute? He is playing like a man with his hair on fire. He's great in coverage, which is something that he proved in his time at Wake Forest coming out. He's finally seeing the ball well, chasing the ball, making solid tackles out in open space. This should be a smothering effort for this Broncos team, and it's going to help the defense for this Broncos team because the Carolina defense is absolutely atrocious, especially in the one area that the Broncos do accentuate on offense, the running game. Carolina's run defense is absolutely the worst run defense in the NFL. They allow 162 yards per game on the ground, I believe. Let me pull that back up really fast.
Yep, you're right. And then they've allowed 13 rushing touchdowns as well.
Yep, they're in terms of yards per attempt on the ground, tied for 8th worst. EPA per rush, they're in the bottom 3. Like they are a terrible team against the run right now. And the Broncos, again, when you're up and utilize a big part here, guys, is losing Derek Brown, that great interior defensive lineman that they had for Carolina. Losing him is going to be a big boost for this Broncos team, especially with the way that Quinn Miners and Ben Powers are playing. You're going to see some big-time running lanes, and I think the Broncos are just going to grind this game out and go ahead and try to stop us because we're just going to run it and we're going to ram it right down your throats.
Yeah, Lance, it's probably going to be very similar to the game last Thursday with the Saints. I mean, it's it's going to be where Sean, I think with that game, it was like the first series didn't start out too well, but I think Sean Payton and Bo Nix really kind of got together and like, look, we can just run this, let it be a running attack. And I think you'll see a similar setup with the Panthers because, like you said, everything, the rush defense for Carolina is just absolutely atrocious. They're beat up there defensively. And so I see Pookie having another big day.
Yep.
And then, I'm pretty sure there'll be some catches there, obviously, from Sutton and maybe even Franklin. But, I really think this is going to be more of a rushing, grind the clock out, try to stop the run. You can't.
Good luck. As Liam Neeson said in the movie Taken, or wait, no, it wasn't him. It was the bad guy. Good luck. Yeah, well, we have a very specified, like a very special set of skills right now, and we're going to jam it directly down your throat, and that's exactly how this game is going to go. I want to grab a comment here really fast from the comment section. We got Rodney Garcia jumping in saying, "Have to watch Bryce Young escaping out of the pocket and using his legs. You need a quarterback spy." I'm going to bring a counterpoint to this, and I think this is a salient point, and absolutely you do need to watch for this. The Panthers don't have a third quarterback that I am aware of on their roster right now. And their backup quarterback is Andy Dalton coming out of a car crash with a sprained thumb. I don't know if it's on his throwing hand or his non-throwing hand, but he is not expected to play because of he's listed as doubtful, I believe, on their injury report.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want Bryce Young escaping the pocket and trying to utilize his legs when you have a backup quarterback that's injured and not a third quarterback on the roster? Like, if that were to happen, God forbid, I'm not trying to wish injury on anybody, so don't twist my words here. But putting Bryce Young in a situation where he's going to have to utilize his legs and run with his diminutive stature and a team that's ball hawking to the ball carrier in a crazy way right now, I think that this is where Dave Canales needs to step in and say, if you're gonna try to run, you need to get down as quickly as you possibly can because we can't afford you to get hurt right now.
Right, because I think I'm looking at the depth chart now. The other quarter, Jack Plummer.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they have Jack Plummer. That's right.
So that would be the one after, if something would have had a Young. But yeah, I'm right there with you. It's like, having him escape the pocket, but you have these fast defensive linemen, you got these inside linebackers. We just mentioned, Cody Barton and Sternad and those. So try, good luck with that. I think again with our smothering defense, whoever's running and escaping, whether it be Hubbard, whether it be Bryce Young, I just don't see how that's going to be, a good thing for them. So I think Canales is going to really have to be like, look, they're going to try to run the football with Hubbard, try to just keep Bryce Young upright as much as they can, but good luck. Like as we said, it's gonna be a long day at the office there for the Panthers. But yeah, Rodney, I see your point though. I mean, I think there'll be times where that does come up. You'll see that happen at times, but I don't see it happening too frequently just because of the Denver Broncos defense. I think they'll be able to solve for that.
I'm with you on that one. Let's say hello to our friends over at Manscaped really fast.
Yes. So for Manscaped, this episode is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Every man knows the unbeatable feeling of a fresh barber shop shave. Now, what if I told you that you are no longer have to wait weeks or even months between appointments to experience it?
Yeah, guys, introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smooth finish or prefer to maintain that rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver is your go-to for precision and style every single time. So guys, head on over to manscaped.com and join over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the code HUDDLE for 20% off plus free shipping. Again, guys, HUDDLE for 20% off plus free shipping.
Yes, get the Chairman Pro today and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Again, get 20% off, free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. And thanks again to Manscaped. Manscaped's good. So
Manscaped's awesome. Those guys have been a big partner for the Mile High Huddle podcast network for 4 years now.
4 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time partnering with Manscaped. We definitely appreciate their guys' support. So thank you, Manscaped, for that.
We do. All right. So I see a lot of predictions here, guys. So I see that in the chat. So we'll get to some of you guys' ones later, and we'll get to ours, of course. Got Lonnie Alexander here from Facebook. Thank you, Lonnie. Says, have you heard if the Broncos are going to start for 10? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, they are. So he's cleared. Yep. He's ready. He's full. He was full participant. He's ready to go.
Yeah. And so I see a lot of, why play your starters and stuff like that. Like I understand it. And people are killing Todd Bowles for playing
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin the other day,
Mhm.
and having that nasty dislocated
Mm,
ankle that
that
he
was
suffered,
ugly.
which it was
That was ugly.
horrible. But these are NFL professionals, guys. These guys want to play football. They love this game. They want to play. You're going to be hard pressed to keep. It doesn't matter if it's the Panthers or if you're down 25 in the fourth quarter. Like, yeah, you're going to have these certain situations. The Buccaneers were actually coming back in that football game. They had an opportunity to win. They needed to score quickly and then recover an onside kick, but there was an opportunity for them to win that football game. So of course your starters are going to play. Surtain's going to start in this game.
Yeah.
Depending on what the game looks like towards the end of the game, if it's well in hand, then yeah, they'll probably start pulling some starters. But Surtain is absolutely going to start this game. Every starter is going to start and play in this game. They're probably going to play elongated snaps in this game until the game is well enough out of hand and Vance Joseph and Sean Payton decide to call off the dogs. And I don't believe that that's going to happen until the Broncos score 30 points offensively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a part of me, I think I was reading or overheard something the other day about Surtain possibly being defensive player of the year. I mean, I know it might be a far cry, a little bit of a stretch, but I probably really want Surtain to play, just so he can be in that conversation of defensive player of the year. I mean, guy's been balling. I know probably the leading candidate before the injury, which that was
Yep.
also a gruesome injury, was Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that guy was balling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate that happened, but yeah, I mean, yeah, but the starters, like you said, Lance, I'm with you. I mean, if they're ready, if they're healthy, they want to get out there and compete.
Yep.
So all right, but again, thank you, Lonnie, for the question.
Just quickly, Michael Ronquillo jumping in saying that he's at the Arizona Wildcats football game. So have fun out there, Mike. We
Have
appreciate you
fun,
for joining in,
Mike.
Ronk. Hopefully I don't know who the Wildcats are playing, but hopefully they win for you. I know you're a big Arizona fan, so have fun out there. In where is that? Is that I don't know where is the University of Arizona? Is that Phoenix? It's not Phoenix. Is it Phoenix? It might be Phoenix.
It is.
It's not Tempe because that's where Arizona State plays.
Yeah,
Screw the Sun
Arizona
Devils. We
State's
don't
in
like them.
Tempe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, Ronk, have fun out there, buddy. Like I hope you enjoy the game, and hopefully the Wildcats win a good one for you.
Yep, I do too. Let's see. We got Michael Davis coming in with the super chat. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you coming in, my guy. Says, gents, this will be a great game to groom Nix Franklin, estimate, and provide some skids and build confidence before November, December the 27th through the 3rd. Denver 5-3 since 2015. Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. This would be for all three. As far as grooming those three, for sure. All three of them can definitely, gain from this game and improve. Especially, I would say Franklin has definitely trajected up for sure, but I think Estime needs to prove way more. Like that fumble when he was inserted last week, it was just a bad fumble, and I know he's had ball security issues, even going back to Notre Dame time, but I do think that that's one area that is the main area that he should definitely improve in. And for Knicks, we discussed, right, that having Knicks kind of see the field more, Peyton incorporating some of those design runs. I think
Yeah.
you will start to see that, and you're seeing that more, but I think you'll start to see that more in this game and in the games to come. Again, I think slowly but surely they're figuring out on offense. It's that balance of Sean Payton has his scheme, but also catering to what Knicks does well. And
Mm-hmm.
again, you see that sometimes, but you just kind of they need to be married at some point and show it consistently. And I think we're going to get there. And then yeah, these games, to your point here, November, December, they're going to be difficult. We kind of outlaid the schedule earlier. But I think if they can get to 5-3, and if they can squeak out, some of these wins again,
Mm-hmm.
the Kansas City one's going to be difficult. Baltimore's going to be difficult. I think Atlanta's winnable. I actually even think Cincinnati near the end of the year is winnable.
Yeah.
So there are a few later on that are winnable, but if they can, get to a point where they're, in that playoff hunt, maybe 6th, 7th seed, in the wild card picture, that 10-7 is realistic, as we alluded to earlier.
Yeah. And again, guys, like if you can get to the trade deadline and you're sitting at 5-4, 5-5, somewhere around in there, like you've got an opportunity to really set yourself up for November, because you've got obviously Sunday, November 3rd, you're at Baltimore. The next week you're at Kansas City, but then right after that you have the Falcons at home. That's a winnable football game. You got the Raiders the week after that. This is in Las Vegas, and then you come back and you play the Browns at home. So you've got a 3-game stretch, and then you got the Colts at home as well.
Yeah.
Like you've got a 4-game stretch here. If you can steal one away from the Ravens or the Chiefs, you win against Carolina, which I think is probably going to happen. You're sitting at what? So 5-3, maybe 6-4 coming out of the next 2-game stretch. You could win against the Falcons. That's 7-4. Win against the Raiders. That's 8-4. Win against the Browns. That's 9-4. And then you got the Colts at home. Like you could easily be a 10-4 football team as long as this offense can figure out a way to just generate some points and allow your defense to keep going to work. Like there's a lot of optimism, and I think that you should be optimistic for something like that happening. Like it's gonna be fun to watch. It really is gonna be fun to watch, because I haven't felt this way about a Broncos team in terms of where they're at in the middle of the season. Now, granted, crazy things can happen. It's the NFL. And I'm not going to say the word that everyone knows that I'm talking about, but you know what I'm saying. Things happen. It is what it is. But if you can get to 10 wins by the time that you're hitting December 15th, that's the Colts game, December 15th, you win that game and you're at 10 wins. Holy hell, guys, you're front seat for a playoff spot. It's something that hasn't happened since 2015.
And then Lance, think about it. It's some of those teams, like I know the Colts are in the playoff hunt, and then Cincinnati I honestly think Cincinnati's going to go on a run. I have this feeling that, and they're already starting to figure it out. But I think they're going to go on a run, and they're also going to be in that conversation. If they can beat Cincinnati, I mean, they'll be ahead of 2 or 3 other playoff teams, or the ones that are in the hunt. So that'll set them up, even to be in that position. But yeah, I think
quite honestly, let me finish this out really fast, because the more I'm like looking at it, and this is pie in the sky. Obviously, things are going to go wrong, and it's not going to be great. But you got Indianapolis. Let's say you're 10-4 at Indianapolis. So you win against the Falcons, win against the Raiders, win against the Browns, win against the Colts. You have the Chargers in LA. And if you wouldn't have turned the football over a couple times early in that game, you were right there on the doorstep of being able to beat the Chargers in Denver just a couple of weeks ago. You got the Bengals, who, they're scary. They're definitely a scary team, probably fighting for a playoff spot, but anything can happen in the tail end of December. And then you got the Chiefs, who are probably going to win the AFC West, probably have a playoff spot locked up at the end of the season. You could steal that game. So you're talking the Broncos could go on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-game winning streak to close out the season after this next 2-game stretch. You got the Panthers here. Obviously, take care of business first. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. And that talking about overlooking the Panthers here. No, not doing that. This game is obviously important. But there's a pathway here, guys. There is absolutely a pathway here, especially with the defense and the way that they're playing. You could win. You could run the table after you play the Chiefs in Kansas City on November 10th. You could absolutely run the table and be a 12-win team, 13-win team. It's not unfathomable, especially the way this NFL season is playing out.
Yeah, and speaking of running the table, you guys can run away with Mint Mobile. So with big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically increases. And you're like, why? Why did my bill go up? With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about those gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they truly mean it. So say bye-bye to all of your overpriced wireless plans, monthly bills, and unexpected overages.
Yeah, guys, to get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/huddle. That's mintmobile.com/huddle. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com. That's mintmobile.com/huddle for $15 a month for the next 3 months.
Yes. So $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Thank you, Mint Mobile. It's new to the show.
Thank you,
We
Mint
appreciate
Mobile.
your support. We
We
definitely
appreciate
appreciate
it.
your support. There's a question I want to grab here really fast because
Sure. You
this
might be looking at the same question.
is it Michael Davis?
Davis again. Yep. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So Michael Davis jumping in here saying anyone else you see gaining from this game. He's talking about Devin Key, the Broncos backup safety
Linebackers.
because the linebackers. PJ Locke is questionable in this game. I believe
Hmm.
he's dealing with a shoulder injury. Like
Hmm.
there's some injury concerns there. Brandon Jones is going to start, so Devin Key could see some extended time. JL Skinner could see some extended time. Like there's a possibility for some of these young guys to step up. But quite honestly, I think it's this one here. Cortland Sutton and Bo Nix. I want to see what is going to happen when the Broncos do try to force the football down the field, and if they can find a way to get Cortland Sutton into the offense, into the game plan specifically, because against the New Orleans Saints, Cortland Sutton didn't even see one target.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is not only a game to allow your running game to just eat. There's opportunities here to expand this passing game and allow Cortland Sutton to work over the middle of the field a little bit, maybe get some one-on-one opportunities on some play action. Like this is a game where you can try some things and maybe build that chemistry a little bit more for Bo Nix moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good question, Mike. As far as anyone gaining, I mean, I'm with you guys here with the Sutton Knicks chemistry because the past few games it's kind of been off. I think it started off okay, and so I don't know. They have to try to figure that out. But I would probably say that is the one. The linebackers as well, Mike. I'm with you now. I don't know if I guess maybe gaining from this game. I kind of want to just see that keep going. Like I said, Barton was tremendous. Um, in the game against the Saints. So can Sternad continue to take that next step? Right. I know we got Quan Alexander as well. So again, I just kind of want to see, if they can kind of keep that momentum going. Because again, if the defense is good and if the linebackers are playing up to that level, I think it makes it even better.
Yeah. I guess my one big question here is: do the Broncos have to make a quarterback change in this game? And like that sounds the way I deadpan said that, it means like, do they have to make a quarterback change because they're winning by 30?
Oh,
Like,
I see.
are we going to see Jarrett Stidham or
Like
Zach
later
Allen,
on, I see. Yeah,
Zach
later
Wilson
on.
take a couple steps? I'm not saying like they're going to have to make a quarterback change, because Bo Nix is playing terribly. No, I think that this is a game where you can work on some things. You can get a little bit creative, especially if you grind the game out, get a 10, 14-point lead. Again, overlooking the Panthers. Yes, I understand. Are we overlooking the Panthers? Maybe. Yeah, maybe just a little bit, but with the where Carolina struggles defensively and what they do offensively, where the Broncos can figure out a way to confuse Bryce Young, run the football down their throats, and just kind of control this game from start to finish. This is like one of those tune-up games that Alabama's playing right now, like where
Mm-hmm.
they play against Chattanooga or like the Mercer or St. Mary's School for the Blind, Deaf, and Dumb. No offense to those fine people down there, but like Carolina's a bad football team, guys. They really are. And
Yeah,
Denver, if Denver has aspirations to do what I said and finish this season on a run, find a way to get maybe 10, 11, 12 wins,
they have to win
you
this
better
game.
win this one.
They have
You
to.
better win this one, because if you don't, then all the questions are going to start flying off the wall.
Like we're talking about must wins for a playoff berth. You have to win this one. Like there is no excuse.
Oh,
There is
100%.
no excuse.
And this is me coming from a former athlete. I'm obviously not a professional athlete, guys. I played baseball, I played football, I played basketball in high school. I had some college offers to go play baseball for a couple of different places. As a competitor here, when you know that you're going up against a team like this that you should dominate, it almost motivates you more. Like, quite honestly, it almost motivates you more to prove that, hey, by the way, we are better than you, and we are going to show it to you right here and right now. And I think that, quite honestly, there was a great article. Our guy Keith Cummings wrote a great piece talking about, like falling into the trap game. And Sean Payton had a great quote. Let me find it really fast. Talking about just like the leadership, he said, this is Sean Payton on Thursday saying, quote, "You talk about how this team is where the leadership is important." Like, I just finished talking to them about one of these things with the experience. Like, I feel like I've been in this type of game like 15, 16, 17 times. The focus is on our preparation. The focus is on our plan. And then obviously studying the film and understanding how to win this game. I like how this group has been responding. It's our next game. It's at home, and all of those things are important. And Quinn Miners was talking about, just the details. He says, quote, "I think there's been going to like 2 years into the system. I don't know if it's easier is the correct word, but it feels a little bit easier to be honed in on those details because I already kind of know the play. I know the structure that we're going to be trying to build against this play. And now it's more about the details. Like, where's my hands? Where's my helmet trying to go? What kind of footwork am I trying to use?" So there's a lot of different internal communication on each play. Like, you're talking about players that are comfortable in the system and the leaders of this team stepping up, and just the discipline of the overall unit and Sean Payton's culture building this to say, we are going to dominate this football team. And that's just plain and simple facts.
Yep. That I agree. So yeah, we can't overlook the Panthers, man. Can't do it. Can't do it. I do have. There was one question in here. I think it's from Todd. I wanted to grab it. Let me.
Hi,
There we
Peter.
go. Todd Ulsendorf coming in. Thank you, Todd. We always appreciate you guys. Says, "I'm wondering what Nick's high water mark is for this year. Can he break 300 yards passing in a game, or maybe yards from scrimmage?" I'm gonna pass this one over to you, Lance, because I have some thoughts. What are you thinking on this one?
So are we talking just single game performances? Or are we talking the total season long aspirations of what you want? Like, I kind of threw out some, I don't want to call them hot takes, but like reasonable expectations for a guy in Bo Nix that this is something you should be doing as a rookie quarterback in the NFL to prove that you're at least the guy. A 300-yard passing game or 300 total yards from scrimmage would be a great opportunity for him. He's gotten close a couple of times, especially against the Saints. I think he actually broke that against the Saints. So you've gotten those kinds of performances. To me, like, I think the high watermark for this year is, this is going to sound like a cop-out answer, and I don't want it to be like that. Showing improvement from game to game and understanding what his technical flaws are and how he can find a way to break through that to be getting to a point to be a 300-yard passer. Like, you can't just say statistical high water mark for a rookie in the NFL. Yeah, he's 24 years old, 61 starts. We all know the stats. But right now, he's not playing like a confident quarterback. He's not playing well within his footwork, within understanding and processing information going out in front of him right now. You see a lot of those throws off the back foot. He missed that one, and everyone's talked about it. Listen to Denver media for 10 seconds, and everyone's going to bring up the throw on the first drive against the Saints where he threw it in between two wide open receivers. It takes skill to be able to pull that off. Those are things that you need to see from him. I think the baseline competency is what you need to see, and then the improvement from that baseline competency, and then we can talk statistics moving forward.
And you actually said everything I was going to say. Let me rattle off just his passing yards for each game this year. So Seattle 138, Pittsburgh 246, Tampa Bay 216, the Jets 60 yards. Remember that one?
Yep.
Vegas 206, the Chargers 216, and then the Saints 164. So, and I think that goes to what you mentioned it in the sense that I think Todd, there may not be a game where he does eclipse that 300 passing yards at all. Now, the games will be there, like this one tomorrow could, but again, I go back to watching Nick's film and that footwork. You alluded to it, and I think that's kind of where I wanted to stress here, Lance, is that footwork needs a lot of improvement for him to really even think about consistently being that 250, 300 yard plus passer.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot, again, he's so scared. He's still very skittish in the pocket. And I feel as though sometimes instead of stepping in, he just sees the pressure and wants to run left, right. And it's like, nah, you could step right on in there, set your base, set your footwork,
Yep.
and then make the throw. And that's where a lot of that accuracy, that inaccuracy comes from.
Yep.
And until he can work on that, Todd, I don't see him again. He may get lucky. He might be 1 or 2 games. He might can get a 300 yards or maybe close to it. I mean, as I just read, there were a few games he was like in the 250 neighborhood. But yeah, I just think that has to be a point of emphasis in the offseason. He has to get that footwork going because that's a lot of throws off the back foot, a lot of just errant throws, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just that needs to get fixed in order for it. And you also see that's why you're seeing more of these design runs. You're seeing a lot of those quick outs because I think
Yep.
I think the coaching staff knows that has to still get fixed
Yep.
to a degree. So you kind of seeing some things that are catering to what Knicks can do well, but that's really the key for that 300-yard passing game more consistently from Knicks moving forward.
Yeah, and our guy Michael Davis jumps in here saying yardage, smartage, just win, and I'm right there with you. And
Right there with you, Mike.
I think another thing, and I've been, I don't want to say critical, but just questioning some of the play calling and the way that Sean Payton is sequencing some of these play calls
Mm-hmm.
to make Bo Nix be a true legitimate franchise quarterback right now. And this is not necessarily a shot at Sean Payton by any stretch of the imagination, because when you watch the tape, you put on the all 22, you see there's receivers open. Bo Nix is
Yeah.
seeing it. He's just not pulling the trigger on those throws. Like he against the Chargers, they ran a mesh concept, so a double crossing route with the
Double
slant
cross.
on the backside,
Mm-hmm.
and he
Mm-hmm.
had Lucas Kroll running wide open, like 5 yards down the field,
Yeah.
and Bo Nix stares it down, eats the ball, turns around and runs for a scramble, gains like 6 yards. Why not? You're staring it directly in the face. There's not a defender within 5 yards of the guy. Just throw the damn ball. Get the ball out of your hands and put it in your playmaker's hands and let him go make a play for you. That's how this is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Sean Payton's doing a really good job of dialing up open receivers for Bo Nix. Again, the Saints play where you had Kroll on the
Kroll
underneath, you had
Franklin open.
Troy Franklin on the quarterback. It was a deep over. A 2x2 situation, a
Mm-hmm.
2x2 set. You had Lucas Kroll running a deep over route or like a crossing route, and then Troy Franklin ran a corner route, and there was a deep post from I don't remember who it was, but anyways, he throws the ball in between Lucas Kroll and Troy Franklin, and like they're 10 yards apart from each other. It lands directly in the middle of them. That throw he threw off his back foot. He's not seeing it the right way. He's not trusting and not comfortable within what Sean Payton wants to do. The two wide open guys. It should have been a damn touchdown. Really should have been a touchdown.
Franklin should have had a touchdown. Yeah. Yeah.
But then you go to the next drive, and they run an RPO, like a read option RPO look with Devon Bailey staring directly in his face on a slant route that goes for 25 yards. Let's see more of that stuff. Let's see some of the stuff where you're not asking Bo to stand in the pocket, read the field, get the ball out on time and stuff like that. Let's make him more comfortable. Utilize the stuff that he used in college, and Sean Payton's starting to dial some of that stuff up. I think that's going to really help accentuate his development this season, make him more comfortable. And I'll pass it off to you in just a second, but I want to give not comparing the players here, comparing the situations. When you look at Josh Allen, his rookie season in Buffalo, they were trying to make him into a like down the field, push the ball down the field, pocket passer. They had to utilize his legs and try to make him more and more comfortable. And then over that season, he got to work with Jesse Palmer and came back. That footwork was way improved. He started seeing things a lot better, and then became a quarterback that is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Am I saying that Bo Nix has the same potential and talent that Josh Allen has? Absolutely not. So don't try to put that on me. But I am going to try to compare the situation. You've got a quarterback that is struggling to see it the right way, struggling to develop his tools, make him more comfortable, allow him to grow through next year, learn that process a little bit faster, and then see what happens next year. Because next year is where I want to see this next step from Bo Nix big time. It doesn't need to happen this year. It needs to happen next year.
I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, Lance. I couldn't have said it any better myself. It's again. Hopefully, like I said, in this off season, it's. I just hope that gets fixed so you can see, that footwork. You can see him kind of seeing the field more. But I'm in total agreement with you.
Yeah.
All
It,
right.
it's just hard because like the guy is, you see, like you can see he's seeing it. It's just like he's not trusting it.
Yeah.
And he's not quite throwing with anticipation right now. And we saw that at Oregon. Like he knew where he was supposed to go with the football, hit his back foot, drive a slant to Troy Franklin or their tight end that they had, the other little shifty receiver that they had going down the field vertically. Like they'd send him down the field too, and Bo Nix would just rip a John and say, "Here you go, have fun." He's not seeing that right now. I think the game is a little bit too fast
Too
for him, and
fast
he
for
needs
him.
to settle down. And I think Sean Payton can help him with that with his play calling. It's
Mhm.
not a huge issue. It's just something I think needs to be addressed.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. All right. Let's see. And Todd, I'm right here with you as well. He's one of my players to watch this game. I want to see Troy Franklin turn up. Yes.
Mhm.
Again, I'm loving, these past few games, what I'm seeing from Franklin. And again, you just want to see that growth, that development. He's, he if he keeps it up, he can definitely have. I think that this first year, I think everyone knew this first year, Lance, that he wasn't going to be a big part, but he's actually kind of exceeding expectations at least right
Yep.
now.
Yep.
So if you can just kind of see that growth, and obviously there's that familiarity with playing at Oregon. Um, but yeah, I think Troy Franklin is trending up for sure, and I want to see
Uh,
more of that too.
I do as well, and I'm going to grab this comment because it kind of ties into this conversation. This is
I
from
was
our
gonna,
guy
yep.
Keith Brugman. Yep, it
Hmm.
comes in saying, "Ron and Lance, how are you, my friends? How are you, Keith? By the way, it's been way too damn long since we got a chance to sit down and chat, my friend. Hint, hint. I'm here for you, dude." He says, "I'd love to get your thoughts on Mims and where he's at in his development." I think that the big thing here is right now Marvin Mims. How do I say this the right way? I don't want to say he's getting like second fiddle reps to Troy Franklin, but it's a comfortability reps that he's
Hmm.
not getting because of Troy Franklin.
Hmm.
I think there's some trust issues not only from from between Mims and Nix, but also Mims and Sean Payton,
Hmm.
and not really trying to utilize the downfield verticality that Mims brings to the field, where Franklin, despite not being a great route runner, is working underneath the football well enough across the middle of the field that it's making it hard for Mims to even see the field. I think that this is I don't want to say criminal because that's not right. It's a egregious, I guess, is the best way, misuse of Mims and what he's capable of doing. We saw a little bit more of him against the Saints, but still, he's getting like 12 offensive snaps a game. How can you not find a way to? This goes into Sean Payton and the play calling. I'm going to bring this back. How can you not find a way to utilize your most explosive offensive playmaker on a down in and down out basis? There's got to be something going on behind the scenes that we just don't know. I can speculate and kind of lay out what I'm thinking here, but I do think that there's some, whether it's not understanding what he's supposed to do, not understanding or like taking to the coaching here with Mims, that's hampering his development not only as a player but as a playmaker for this team. Like it's hard to watch because I was such a huge Mims fan, but you're seeing it now. Bo Nix trusts Troy Franklin more than he does Marvin Mims, and that's just a plain and simple fact.
Yeah. And again, Keith, thank you for coming in. This hopefully you're doing well, my friend. This is a great question slash observation. If I'm with you on the comfortability portion, Lance, that he knows Nick's trusts Troy Franklin more. I don't know. I think with Mims, kind of how I see Mims is I don't know if the growth and development is there from a just the position of the wide receiver. Now,
Mm-hmm.
as a kick punt returner, he's great. He's doing a good job, but I don't know. I think some of the uh like some of the plays I see when he's on offense. Like I know sometimes he'll make catches, sometimes he'll drop just some routine catches. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I think, now with him being in his second year, and I know there have been rumblings when they were in camp that there was a big issue with him and the coaching staff. I just think that still is kind of plaguing into this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just don't think the coaches trust Mims yet to have that role. But again, it's you brought him in to kind of be Jerry Judy's replacement,
Yeah.
and it's like you're not using him as such. So it's very perplexing to me. Now, again, maybe with the Troy Franklin, he can kind of come in and somewhat do that. But then you drafted Mims third round, and it's like, well, why not use him where he's good? Because you saw, I think what's perplexing, Lance, as well, is that game last year against Washington, where in my
Mm-hmm.
mind that was like a breakout game for him. Just
Yep.
big explosive plays down the field. Um, and I think that's the ability he possesses, but I just think there are other things from the receiver position that the coaches don't trust him on, and that's why you're not seeing as many reps his way as you now are seeing with Troy.
Yeah.
With Troy Franklin, he has a little bit more grace, right? He's a rookie. But I don't know. It's just odd to me. It's odd to me.
I think Rodney Garcia jumping in here and Mike jumps back and saying, afraid so here is Mims going to be another Isaiah McKenzie, and I don't want to go that far yet because I still think that there's a higher breakout potential for Marvin Mims than I ever did with Isaiah McKenzie. I thought that he was really just going to be like a punt return guy. He was so raw as a route runner coming out of Georgia all those years ago, but with Mims, like there's a possibility here for you to just try to create explosive plays with him, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be throwing the ball down the field. I mean, why can we not get him on a screen?
End around screens.
And
Yeah.
exactly, like you'll see it every now and again. And when he does get the football in his hands, he does make good reads. He gets downfield. Like hell, they had it was an end around to him. Was that against? I think it was against the Chargers. They gave him an end around.
Yeah, the Chargers
and
game.
he ran damn near to the sideline, almost overran his blocking, stopped on a dime, and then cut up field for like a 10-yard gain. Like you can utilize him like that. It doesn't need to just be a down the field passing attack. He shows the skills with the ball in his hands as a punt returner to see what's going on in front of him. Why not get creative here? And again, going back to Sean Payton, and I'm not trying to, this is not me digging on Sean Payton. I think he's doing a really good job, and I think that he needs more praise for what he is doing as a play caller, evolving this offense. Let's keep continuing to evolve it because you've got Troy Franklin and you have Marvin Mims.
Yeah.
You have two players with electric speed. Why not put them on the field at the same time? Why not get Greg Dulcich involved as well? And Greg Dulcich has been healthy and active for the last 3 weeks. Like, utilize some of the speed and explosive potential that you have with these young players and try to get creative and open field touches for these guys because they'll create the explosive plays for you with the ball in their hands like that. I want to see more of that moving forward and just like try to focus on that. And I think that that's probably the best way to help Mims not become another Isaiah McKenzie.
I was with you till you said Greg Dulcich.
and the reason I say this, I'm going to go back to it's something I saw. This is going back to Nathaniel Hackett when the Broncos were in London playing against the Jaguars. What they did was they had KJ Hamler, another guy that's talked about in the chat here.
Yep.
They had KJ Hamler and Greg Dulcich lined up on the same side of the field in a twins formation, whether it was Dulcich on the line of scrimmage or Hamler on the line of scrimmage. They lined them up on the same side of the field. What that does is it presents to you a speed mismatch and a size mismatch, but also not a size mismatch, but a speed mismatch for the size mismatch. So you have Dulcich going across the middle of the field with his big speed and his big size playing against linebackers and safeties. He's faster than every linebacker. He's bigger than every safety. Utilize that. And then you've got KJ Hamler that is faster than everybody on the field. And what did they do in that London game? They ran what's called a switch release vertical scissors concept.
Mm-hmm.
So they would line them up here. If you guys can't, if you're listening after the fact on the podcast, I apologize here, but you're going to have to see my hands. You line up two guys side by side, you switch release so they cross coming off the line of scrimmage, get vertical, and then they switch their coming out of their break, going in different directions. Yeah. So you're running switch release verticals with a scissors concept or a dagger or a dig route, something like that comes off the backside of that. How can you not utilize that in an offense that likes that concept, specifically scissors, dagger, and mills, those three concepts, and you've got three guys that present to you so many speed mismatches? You've got to find a way to utilize those three players correctly. Like, quite honestly, I think that is something that can be a creative, different look for this offense to help create more explosive plays.
Yeah, and I guess I'm with you in the sense that, you know, Dulcich Bims to kind of keep the defenses guessing. I know I'm looking at Dulcich just from a what he can do perspective, and
Oh yeah, I'm down on Dulcich too, man.
you know what I
I'm
mean?
such
Yeah,
a
but I
huge
get
fan.
what you're saying. I think I get what the intent, like just to kind of keep defenses honest, kind of create the mismatches. But yeah, but yeah, I'm with you, Mims, and I think we saw use him kind of like how he did with Brandon Cooks back in New Orleans.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
how I actually that's really how I saw Mims.
That's
I mean,
exactly
people
what
were
I said too. Yep.
yeah, and people were like, well, Judy, I was like, nah, I see more Mims being more of a Brandon Cooks type of guy, where you
Yep.
can do the end around screens, and then when the big plays down the field are there, chuck it down.
Well, and the big thing is when you have a guy like a Cortland Sutton on one side, and maybe, and unfortunately the whole situation with Josh Reynolds, by the way, I was going to say his name.
Oh yeah,
horrible. I'm so glad and happy
so glad.
that he's
Yeah.
healthy and okay for the most part. Like, it was terrible situation. Don't want to break that down for you guys. But when you got a guy like Josh Reynolds, or even a Troy Franklin, who kind of does the same thing that Josh Reynolds can do, but you got Cortland Sutton on one side, you can operate the dagger, the dig route, the slant route, and stuff like that. But then you bring a Marvin Mims on the opposite side of that, and you run a deep over route. Forget stretching the field vertically, guys. Let's stretch the field horizontally. You can use so much, and that was a big thing with Brandon Cooks was, yeah, you had the deep shot, but you don't need to take a deep shot when he can run a 10-yard over route or a 10-yard crossing route, get him in open space and throw the ball into space where now there's not a defender within 10 yards of the guy. Martin Mims can excel in that kind of a role, and I don't understand why we're not seeing it, at least not yet.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, it's already over an hour. Man, it's good talking football with you guys.
Dude, that last 20 minutes flew by. The last 20 minutes flew by.
When we're talking about our favorite team, man. It's crazy. All right, let's see who else. I'm gonna read the chat here.
We got to give Phil a shout out. He sent some stars earlier. We didn't grab him a shout out on that, so apologies, Phil.
Sorry,
not
Phil.
Out in the dark, dude.
Yeah, we're not believe you, and I think that's what he's saying. Okay, University of Arizona in Tucson. Okay.
Yep.
Playing. Okay, West Virginia. Okay. Have you guys heard Zach Wilson being looked at by the Giants? What could we get for him? Well, what did we get? Did we send a 6 over to the Giants for that?
It was the Broncos,
and then we got an exchange.
Yeah, the Broncos sent a 6 to the Giants for Zach Wilson in the 7th. Your typical late round pick swap to get a guy.
Swap. Yeah. I mean, what can we realistically? Maybe 6th, 7th as well. I mean, I know he did well in the preseason, but I mean,
I've heard this take a couple of different times on like what is Zach Wilson here for? Like, why is he on this roster? Is talking specifically about Darren McKee DMAC on Altitude Sports Radio. What's he on this roster for if you're not going to play him? And I get that. Like, if Bo Nix were to be pulled out of a game, you're probably going to play Jarrett Stidham. Zach Wilson just kind of taking up a spot. I think that multiple things can be true at the same time. Zach Wilson doesn't hurt your roster right now. With the depth that you have right now, he's not hurting anything. Is he helping anything either? No. But I think that Sean Payton likes this guy, and I think that he sees that there's some tools here. And the one situation where you could have offloaded Zach Wilson and gotten something out of him was a couple of weeks ago when Tua Tagovailoa got knocked out with a concussion. Keep your eyes on that because he's going to be coming back this week from the sound of it.
Coming back next week. Yep.
With Zach Wilson, I don't know. I don't know that there's a lot of trade value here, and honestly, I don't think that you need to be looking to move on from the guy. Like, honestly,
like I said, maybe 6th, 7th again for him. I mean, maybe 7th.
What's his contract look like? Let me pull that up really fast. Go ahead.
Yeah, Phil. So again, the Giants. They may. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what his market's like. I don't think it's too big, quite honestly. Um, and so again, maybe a sixth or maybe a seventh. I'm thinking for Zach. I don't see much value there.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
free agent after this year too. So because the
oh,
Broncos,
okay.
when they traded for him, they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, which would have paid
Well,
him $22.5 million. I wasn't sure if he still had another year on his contract before then, so that maybe changes my evaluation a little bit. But that also devalues his availability. Like our team's going to want to bring in a guy for this year that now has to learn your offense and learn to play with what your team is right now. I mean, you're talking a big time injury happening now between now and week 9.
yeah.
But if you're going to want to move on from Zach Wilson, I don't think it's going to happen. And quite honestly, if the Broncos do, because Jarrett Stidham's on last year his deal too, why not keep Zach Wilson around? Former number
Mhm.
3 overall pick, like keep the guy or number 2 overall pick, excuse me. That's
Yeah.
talent. Keep a talented player on your roster, keep him around, and see what you can do with him. I'd much rather try to move on from Jarrett Stidham than I would Zach Wilson.
Right. I like the upside on Wilson. I mean,
Yep.
I know I was down on Wilson when the Broncos got him. I think a lot of us were, but I really think Sean Payton and the Broncos. I've kind of There can be nothing but short of impressed by what they've seen, especially in the
Yep.
preseason.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm okay with letting Stidham go and keeping Wilson. I think the upside's higher. It's better. Thank you again, Phil, for we appreciate it. All right, guys. So got to get into our predictions, and then we
Hey, let's
have to
go.
get out of here. So Lance, I mean, I think it's kind of evident, but I'll let you go first on kind of how you think the matchup against the Panthers tomorrow will unfold.
Well, I think that the Broncos are going to get after Bryce Young. I think that Vance Joseph is going to do exactly what I said, just be creative with the pressure packages and make it confusing for the young rookie quarterback. I think you'll probably see an interception, maybe one for maybe two, one going for a touchdown the other way. I think this Broncos team is going to run for 200 yards against this Panthers defense and win in a dominating fashion. They're going to win 33-6. It's
Yeah,
going to be an easy win. It should be an easy win. It's what I expect.
yeah. I mean, this matchup against a bad Panthers team is just the perfect opportunity for Denver to just exhibit their dominance on I mean mostly defense, but again I think we want to see improvements, and this is that somewhat get right game on offense that they can provide. So with that, Javonte Williams will be a focal point here. So the running game will get going against this horrid rush defense of the Panthers. And then with Young, expect the Broncos to get that pressure on Bryce Young. They're going to be aggressive. That defensive line is going to have a day. So with that, it's going to be a lopsided victory. I do have the Broncos winning 38, and then Panthers 10.
Yeah. So guys, again, go check out the Mile High Huddle Roundtable. All of the entire staff's picks and predictions are on there. Something that I put on that is this should be a game that a lot of college football coaches like to call what is quote a track meet and a band concert. If you know anything about college football, think Alabama versus Mercer here. Track meet, long scoring runs, and band concert. We're going to hear the school song a lot. Like that's what this game should be for the Broncos against this Panthers team, guys. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all for having me. Thank you, Ron, for allowing me to join in the conversation. You all stay safe and take care. Have a great evening. We're going to get out of here in just a couple minutes, guys.
Yes, and we want to say thanks to a few of the people that contributed tonight. We greatly appreciate your support. David McElrath, we got Michael Davis, we got Mike Ronquillo, and we got Phil McLaughlin coming in. Again, we thank all of you. Keith, Phil, and Ernie, thank you guys for coming in. We appreciate it. And enjoy the game tomorrow. Again, should be an easy win for Denver. And we will talk to you all next week. Go Broncos.